for interacting with women is I'm going to approach her and I'm going to ask her question after question after question. I'm going to figure out which topic's going to get her to open up. Right. But what happens is that when a man approaches in that way, it just feels like she's being berated. It feels like she's being interviewed. And right away, boom, 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 the barriers go up. I don't want to interact with you, which makes it harder for this great guy to break that seal so they can actually connect. So what I tell guys to do is reverse it. Instead of attempting to open her up, you open up first. You take the lead, because that puts you at an advantage because you're in a more comfortable space rather than trying to figure out what this stranger is going to respond to. If you open up first and share and talk and joke around and talk to her like, you know, she's somebody you've known forever, that's going to allow her to get more comfortable, feel a bit more safe, and then open up with you. Once she opens up, once there's some playfulness going on between the two of you, then you can escalate.
Right, exactly. No, and I had to agree with you on that, because I think when you do it that way, when you're not doing it in an interview type of way, I think it comes up, you know, the conversation becomes more natural and everything.
100%. Yeah, it's not natural for somebody to come up and say like, hey, how's your day going? Great, that's awesome. So what are you doing today? Amazing. I love that. Love that you're going fishing. Like fishing? And I've had guys approach me like this so that they don't give me anything of them. I have no idea who they are. So really what I'm evaluating them on is, do I like how they look? And do I like their energy? And most likely because of their interrogation, I don't like how they feel, right? And if I'm not set on their looks, I'm not going to give more time to them. And even if I am set on their looks, once they don't know how to actually like interact with me instead of just interrogate me and try to get me to give them information, that's going to lower my attraction level. So I've had looking guys come up and approach me before and have no idea how to have a conversation. They, again, either put the conversation on me that I have to lead it, or they just ask me question after question and don't actually listen to what I'm saying as a response. And then I get exhausted, annoyed, and bored. And then I find a way to exit the conversation.
Right. I think being a good listener is important too, because I think just by listening, I always found like, you know, by listening and paying attention to a woman's when I'm interacting with a woman, I can develop more questions like from what she's saying that kind of get her to open up more rather than just change the topic all the time.
100%. But that's hard to do. If you get nervous in conversation in the beginning stages, it can be very challenging because you're in your head, right? So you're not focusing on the conversation that's in front of you. And I say to tons of guys, like, women will give you information, will give you the thing to work with, right? It's for you to then take that information, add your own take, add your expansion to it. So for example, if you're interacting with a woman and she mentioned something about just coming from dance class, right? Like many guys will skip over that and just continue talking or asking more questions. But the guy who's really listening will say, oh my God, you're coming from dance lessons. That's so funny. I actually took dance lessons when I was 7 years old. I did a tap class, got kicked out of that class because I was causing too many issues, blah, blah, blah. What kind of dance are you taking? Right? So it's like, they can use it as a moment to connect. And I'm a little bit more long-winded than other people, but guys can do the same thing in their own style. And it's learning and these are all things that I teach. You can't really be taught in a 30-minute interview. But
it takes a lot of time and practice.
Yeah. Once you teach how to get out of your head and be in the moment and present, then you can start to pay attention to what's happening in front of you, and then you can learn to interact with it. So it's, again, it's baby steps.
Right. You know what I realized? It's funny that you're talking about being out of your head and being